Hey everybody, this is Alzorath and welcome to GamerFi. Today we're taking a look at Magic 2014 and I'm going to be approaching this as kind of how it was intended, and that is as an advertisement for Magic the Gathering. Now, the reason why I say it's an advertisement is this is a very much simplified version of the game. In the more full-featured versions, which are the physical game and Magic the Gathering Online, you have a lot more abilities available to you and a lot more flexibility in how you play. In this version of the game, you really have very limited decks and very limited play styles, although one advantage this does have over Magic the Gathering Online is the two-headed giant feature, which is not available as far as I know in the Magic the Gathering Online world. Although they do have a beta client and maybe that hasn't implemented, I don't think it does though. And I'll cover Magic the Gathering Online at some point in the future. Most of you who are familiar with TCGs know about this game though, so you probably have a basic idea of how it plays, but I'm going to go ahead and talk through pretty much how this game in its current incarnation plays for me. First off, we're going to jump into the options screen. Now, one thing I'm going to point out is apparently most Wizards employees don't seem to understand that, well, most people have widescreen monitors nowadays. I had to go in and set my options to a very special setting, and I'm actually having to play in a window so it'll record in 720p widescreen. Otherwise, it will record in the standard 4 and 3, which you can find in here under the settings. I have it set to Mage for the review. I've beaten it on the Archmage difficulty. I have not beaten it on the Planeswalker difficulty, the basic campaign, that is. Now I'm going to go ahead and say thank you for putting in the slider bars for the different aspects of the volume. That's very nice. Voice communications are for multiplayer and you can turn on and off subtitles. The graphics are the thing where it gets really kind of irritating because it starts out in a 4:3 format. You have a few options here and it does let you set it to what you want, so that is definitely a plus. I believe it starts in full screen mode, which makes all your graphics all squished and nasty, which is really annoying, but that's just something that you can come in here and fix. It is fixable, it's just strange defaults by them. You have a few preferences and you have turn priorities over here, which is useful. So if you've ever played a TCG, you know that turn priority is a very, very important thing. So let's go ahead and back out of that. You have other things here such as your controls. You can even has a store locator if you're wondering how much of an advertisement this is. You have a tutorial and instructions on how to play, which are useful if this is your first time in Magic the Gathering. Now, honestly, I would recommend this to people who are new to Magic to get their feet kind of wet, but I would not recommend this to a veteran because, yeah, we're going to jump in the deck manager and I'm going to show you why I don't recommend this to veterans of the game. I only really recommend it to newbies or people who are trying to learn Magic the Gathering. So let's go ahead and jump into Chant of Moldiah. This is the deck that I've been playing the most with. As you can see, I have 20 of 30 cards unlocked, and I think it illustrates one of the important points of what this game really does wrong in terms of how flexible the cards can be in Magic the Gathering. Currently I have a 65 card deck, but as far as the things it does wrong, first of all, you can tell it was designed for the console because, as you notice, I don't have any options except for on the centered card. This is very much a remnant of console design because, well, you don't have a mouse cursor in this. So this is frustrating. If you're going to do a PC version, please let me just select the card I want and do zoom in or add it to my deck. I'm not going to add anything to this simply because this is what I was playing around with and messing with. The other thing that really kind of disappoints me in the kind of campaign mode is you really don't have that much deck customization. You are pretty much stuck with the core decks and whatever decks they want to sell you because, yes, there are, I wouldn't call them DLC. They're pretty much microtransactions for additional decks, in addition to being able to unlock decks through just, well, playing. And you can unlock many of the decks. You have to back through to the deck manager through just playing, but not all of them. As you can see, I have a good number of them here that have been unlocked. So we're going to go ahead and back out of this. The sparkles just says, hey, I unlocked another card because I had a botched recording of this before because of the recording thing. So let's go ahead and jump into single player. And I'm going to show you probably the two most important things, which is sealed play and campaign. Sealed play is kind of where this game redeems itself in terms of customization and the TCG aspect of it. This is very much a CCG in its digital form, so it's collectible card game rather than trading card game. But in the campaign mode, there's a few interesting things I want to show off before I go into sealed play. As far as challenges, custom game, and revenge, those are pretty much just extra modes that aren't really core to unlocking things. Although you can unlock things through challenges and revenge simply because they are more matches to play, and that does unlock cards. So let's go ahead and jump on the campaign mode, and I'll show that off to you how it works. Kaldheim is not really that important because it's not going to show us what we want to know. Innistrad is where we start to see the kind of way the campaign plays out. And as we go in, we're going to go ahead and skip through the lovely little voice acting. It's actually fairly decent for a video game. But the way the campaign plays out is you have a handful of kind of custom matches, and then you have a boss battle, which is at the end of a given chapter, which usually unlocks a deck. The kind of boss battle thing is basically a standard deck versus a standard deck, whereas these custom battles are more of a match where you're facing off against a kind of specialized opponent. In the case of this one, it would be zombies. In the case of this one, it is the cultists. And they don't play out like normal decks because they have way more than 4 of a given card, and they have a little bit of different strategy involved around them. And later on, some of them get somewhat difficult, but not unbearable. For the sake of this one, I'm going to just show off Moorland Zombies so I can show you how the actual gameplay handles. Moorland Zombies being a rather easy one. We're going to jump in on Hunter's Strength, which is the default starter deck. This is the deck that you get whenever you first start playing. So I'm going to go ahead and start Encounter, and we're going to see what we are going to be facing against and how the game actually plays. Here's what it shows for your opening hand. For those of you that don't know what a mulligan is, which is what it's offering me right here, is the ability to draw a new hand if you're not happy with your opening one. In this version of the game, it's a friendly mulligan at the first, and then it kind of goes down, where your first kind of I'm unhappy with this hand goes straight to another 7 cards. Whereas later ones will drop you down to 6, then 5, then 4, then 3. If you're fairly aggressive in the mulligans, you're going to be losing a card each time, so in competitive play, you'd expect to drop to 6 cards on your first mulligan. But as far as this hand goes, I'm fairly happy with it. It can accomplish what I want to do. I have pretty much enough mana to play a bunch of things, so I won't bore you with the mechanics of how the game works, but I will show you the pros and cons of how this particular game plays out. So we're going to go ahead and keep hand. We get to go first, so we're going to go ahead and drop out our land, and I wish there was a way to skip the phases, because this does get irritating in the long run. I have played through the entire campaign, and I start clicking furiously mad so I can actually get through the kind of irritating almost slowness of the turns. Now, if it had the ability to fast forward through these particular actions, it would be amazing. Now, you can zoom in on your card while you're here with the scroll wheel, or you can click the middle button. And I'm going to go ahead and Nature's Lore here just to get stuff out. I don't need to really worry about dying on this one. It is just the first real kind of trial battle that you're going to do. Whenever you search for a card, it'll pop up all the possible cards that you can pick from. This is a nice feature that I wish other games would do, where if you're seeking for something, it'll only show up the cards that you can actually pull with that ability rather than all the cards in your deck. I'm looking at you, Shadow Era. It'd be nice to be able to have it limited automatically. But let's go ahead and click confirm. That'll come into play, and we'll have to sit here through all of our other phases. And they're going to be able to pretty much attack us without kind of any repercussions right now. Now, this is going to be entering the battle mode. You can skip through the damage thing by clicking. Usually it would just pop up and you'd see a little graphic of claws. I think I will do that next turn so you can see how it looks. We get to click continue because, well, it's got to confirm that we saw that. A little bit nice, and is a common thing against AI opponents in various games. We don't really have anything we can play out that's super effective, but we can drop out this Garrick. And again, we have to wait for the little timer to go. Does get a little frustrating, but that's kind of how the gameplay goes. It's not great, it's not terrible. I just can't say that I'm entirely happy with how it plays. We're going to go ahead and let this attack go through and show you the graphic for it. Going to go ahead and skip blocking, of course, because it would be stupid not to. And yeah, you get a little bite mark for zombies, you get some claws. It's different graphics, which I really do appreciate the attention to detail there. And it is a very slick interface. The turn, you got to be careful with the turns, because sometimes you'll enter a situation where you want to stop the timer and you really have to click right there to stop it. So always be aware of that. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish this matchup off screen, and I'll join you guys back at the game select menu. And now with that mission done, we're ready to do a little bit of sealed play, take a look at the little bit of a redeeming value of this particular version of the game, though I still don't see this is really the best version. We're going to go ahead and click on sealed play. Now, one thing I have noticed is I cannot delete an already created, basically, deck here. You're stuck with it once you start it, so kind of live with it. I have not found a way to reset them or redraw cards, so yeah, work with what you got, which is really sad and frustrating. Kind of seems like a push to make you purchase more slots in this game. But in this, I've got two decks. I've got a white-green and a red-black. The white-green was built by the computer. The red-black was built by me, and we're going to be playing with that one. But I'm going to go ahead and show you pretty much how it looks whenever you first go into a sealed game. You'll see this screen right here, which is a set of matches with a kind of final boss thing at the end. And as you play through, you get more packs with each one that has a little pack right here. So it's not really arranged by difficulty, because if I go back and play with this one, you'll notice that the order is switched up. So you can kind of face them in pretty much random orders. You do have a deck here that allow you to test your deck, which is a bunch of birds that you'll be facing. They'll drop a bird every turn. As far as this one goes, these are all normal decks that you'll be facing off against. So it can get pretty tough. You face Jace at the beginning and the end of this particular one, I believe. Nope. You face him second and last. It kind of varies. But you'll have one guy twice. That's pretty much how it goes. I'm not going to pay for another one to show you how the pack opening goes. It's a little bit flashy, but not insanely awesome. It's just like opening a sealed deck on any other virtual platform. So we're going to go ahead and go into the edit sealed deck. So you can see that it actually does allow you to choose from a fairly wide array of cards. You get your rare and your uncommons with each one. The deck is never going to be that amazing. It's going to be a sealed format deck. You get 6 packs starting out, and then you get a pack with each, well, pack opening batch, which will give you more cards to refine your deck. They can be random, of any color, and it gets a little frustrating at times, but that's sealed format for you. I do like that you get extra packs to tighten it up a little bit as you play along, so you can deal with the increased difficulty, but yeah, it's still very limited. If my memory serves, there's only like 183 cards in this that you can choose from. So it's still not extremely flexible, and you are likely to get a good number of each of the cards, at least the commons. But yeah, that's the sealed format, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of GamerFi. It'll probably be a really short episode if I'm judging my little clocks right. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on GamerFi. Keep gaming, have fun, peace out. This has been Alzorath. Bye.